Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video on my channel, Hairliciously. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe so that you guys are updated on hair loss and hair transplant topics, as well as updates on current hair loss treatments in the pipelines. Visit my website at HAIRLICIOUSLY.com to purchase your microneedling device, which is scientifically proven to stimulate hair growth, my low-level laser therapy cap, the HT Viking shampoo, conditioner, and serum, hair growth vitamins, and a few other products to help those who are losing hair. So in today's video, I wanted to give you guys an update regarding the 2 hair transplants that I've had. If you guys are new to the channel, and for those who kind of need to go back and get some refreshers, I actually had my very first hair transplant exactly 5 years ago in November 2016, where I got approximately 1,700 grafts via FUE to fix my receding hairline and the temporal points. I dropped about 1 centimeter to lower the hairline and also the temples and to fill in the temporal points. Basically to frame the face. I've always had a wide and long forehead and recessed temples, and even as a kid I've always had difficulty with different types of hairstyles just because my forehead was so big. Now the hair loss itself wasn't even that bad. I think I was around like a Norwood 2, maybe a Norwood 2.5 maximum, but it did look worse due to the fact that my forehead was large and I was always self-conscious about the receding hairline. Things like swimming, biking, and even like driving with the windows down were avoided because I was in fear of people finding out that I was balding. So I did a lot of research, and the deciding factor for going to Motion Clinic in South Korea was that I had a friend who got his hair transplant and it looked pretty good. So I flew out to Korea, paid about $5,500 USD for the 1,700 grafts, which took about 9-10 hours to complete. And I will say that the first hair transplant definitely helped fill in my receding hairline and also helped reduce the overall size of the forehead. But after that first year, I realized that the density wasn't enough. I'm not exactly sure like what the number of grafts per centimeter was to be exact, but because I lowered the hairline by 1 centimeter, which is actually a pretty significant drop, I wasn't fully content with the density. There were visible gaps up close on the hairline. There were multi-grafts also on the hairline, which is a big no-no. And some of the grafts that were implanted on the temporal triangles were either too thick or they were wiry, and it didn't really blend in with the rest of the hairs. Some of them weren't even oriented in the same direction. So, it would kind of like stick out on the sides. And at that time, I thought that it was a successful hair transplant because I didn't possess the knowledge that I have now. But overall, I wouldn't call it a failure. It was definitely a decent experience, and I was at the very least able to, be at least happy with the result that I got. Now, during the time after that first hair transplant, I was taking finasteride 1 milligram per day with microneedling and Minoxidil 5% twice a day, a few natural supplements, and laser therapy for the next 3 years until we fast forward to November 2019. And I was actually able to maintain most of the hairs that I had. Now, moving forward, the second hair transplant happened also exactly 2 years to the dot, November 2019 at Motion Clinic. I did initially look at some of the other clinics in the US and also outside of the country, but they were either too expensive or at least in the US, and I didn't feel too safe going to different country besides Korea. So I reached out to Motion again, and this time they told me that their head doctor, who is currently Dr. Park, would personally conduct my hair transplant. If he didn't do my hair transplant, I don't think I would have gotten in at Motion Clinic, probably went somewhere else. I did a lot of reviews on their before and after photos, addressed my concerns to the doctor, went over things that I expected this time with the knowledge that I had, gained over the past few years just researching and learning more about hair transplants. And I felt pretty good. I felt pretty confident that I would be in good hands in being able to achieve better density and, most importantly, something that looked natural as far as the hairline. So second hair transplant was around 1,800 grafts, so slightly more than the first hair transplant. And then it was mainly used to basically just beef up the hairline, lower it just a little bit, fill in the temples, bring it down, and then also fill in the temporal triangles because the density was lacking there. And hands down, the second hair transplant was a great success. Probably I would give like a 9 out of 10. All the single grafts were oriented in the hairline, good adequate density for the most part. And the temporal triangles were reconstructed to frame the face even more effectively. As far as density, I'm probably around 50 grafts per centimeter squared, which is more than enough to give you guys an illusion of a full head of hair or for full coverage. I'm just gonna give you guys a close-up view of my hairline. Part, I feel like the grafts that were implanted from the first hair transplant are still intact, minimal miniaturization. The grafts from the second hair transplant are also doing really well, and this is expected because I am still on finasteride. Currently, I'm taking 0.5 milligrams. The rest of the mid scalp and the crown are also doing really well with no signs of thinning. I've never had miniaturization there. Now, if I do continue to miniaturize later down the road, my next step is to jump on a topical anti-androgen. I'm most likely looking at Breezula, also known as CV0301, which is currently undergoing clinical trials for FDA approval. But even if it doesn't get approved, I'll probably just get my hands on it and make my own topical version and possibly transition into a lower dose of dutasteride. But so far, I haven't really had to worry about anything like that yet. And hopefully, it stays that way. I'm also monitoring the sides of the hairs for potential progression of retrograde alopecia. I've always had thinning on the sides ever since I can remember. And, it's always been a concern of mine in addition to the receding hairline that I had. I really don't think that it's been thinning out more over the last, over the last 5 years, but it's definitely something that I would like to fix and even stabilize and maybe possibly regrow some of the hairs. So I may try different treatments such as microneedling at different lengths or using other topicals, and I will update you guys later down the road in a future video. Now, as far as a third hair transplant, would I receive a third one? Yeah, probably, currently I'm about 80% to 90% content with where I'm at with my hairline. I know that I should feel really blessed to be in a position that I'm in because there's a lot of guys out there who have it far worse and those who are not able to go through with a hair transplant due to financial shortcomings. But, now that I've established my hairline and temporal points, the only areas that I would really have to be concerned about when it comes to further miniaturization is, behind all the areas where the grafts were transplanted, given that they are all resistant to DHT. If the mid scalp or the crown starts receding or thinning out, I'm definitely going to have to consider another minor hair transplant. As far as touch-ups, there are certain areas that I would like to add in more density. For example, like this left side here, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's more of on the thinning side, or there's a lack of density. And under adequate lighting, you guys can still partially see kind of like right through the scalp. And it looks like the hairs might be, like I said, potentially miniaturizing, or it might just be due to the lack of density. So definitely, I would add in a few grafts there, but nothing drastic to the point where I'm undergoing like another 1,000+ graft procedure. And if you guys did watch my previous video, I talked about going to Turkey early next year, probably around March or April to Cosmetica. So when I do visit the doctor, I may add a few grafts here and there just to kind of beef up the hairline, and also to up the density, but nothing major. I'm not trying to go off tangent, but I am still working with Cosmetica and finding out what we will be doing for the free hair transplant giveaway. But basically, it's just kind of going to be more of a random drawing type of giveaway where subscribers will have to fill out an application, making sure that they are medically fit for a procedure, a few photos of, like their current hair loss situation so that we can filter out people who are not going to be good candidates for a hair transplant, because the fact is not everyone is going to be a good candidate. And once we have that list compiled up, we'll do a random drawing after, like a month or so, whatever. And whoever's chosen is going to have to fly out to Turkey at their own expense to get a complimentary hair transplant. But like I said, I'm going to be going over more details in this sometime later this week or next week. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But yeah, overall, it's already been 5 years since my first hair transplant. Just time really flies. and my hair has come a long way from where it was in the beginning. I'm also very thankful that the hair loss treatment regimen that I've been on has been working pretty well for the most part. I haven't had any major recessions or hair thinning, or at least nothing too noticeable. But I will say that the hairs do feel a little bit more on the thinning side from what I can remember a few years back. Although I don't really physically see, like hairs or anything like that falling out. But this is to be expected for some people because it is genetic hair loss, which is progressive by its very nature. And there's a good chance that I will have to be adding in some other treatments to fortify and also maintain what I have. At this point, I'm not even looking for any regrowth, but overall just being able to maintain what I have. So, there's a good possibility, like I said, on an anti-androgen, which may be added or even possibly dutasteride. But as of now, I feel like I'm pretty good with where I'm at, pretty happy with the hair and the hairline. So yeah, basically this is my quick 5-year update on my hair transplants. If you guys are interested in going to Motion Clinic for a hair transplant, you can reach out to them via email. I have all of their contact information in the description box below. They are offering free online consultations, and recently Korea, they reduced their mandatory quarantine period from 14 days to 10 days, which is still a lot. But it's expected that the quarantine period is going to get better over the next couple months. So yeah, highly recommend Motion Clinic in South Korea. For those who are looking for a good hair transplant clinic, highly recommend Dr. Park, and I just couldn't be happier with my results. But that wraps up this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to leave me some comments or reach me via email. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. And like I said, I will keep you guys updated on the free giveaway for the Turkey hair transplant. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.